Man, plans of mice and men. Okay, so this is starting 5 minutes late. My 7:15 stream, which I know I'm trying to aim for 7 o'clock. Taking a moment to adjust the cameras and get all ready. This lovely lady is our project tonight. And I can tell already I'm going to have to focus. So, the problem I have with using Facebook is that a lot of these camera settings, I don't know how to check it before action and all that stuff. So, man, that's awfully washed out. Because it's like even between Facebook and StreamYard, different things have different things. This project today, she is a fairy wizard, and I'm starting a little bit late today to quickly take out my dog right before we started streaming here in the shop. So let me. It's because she's being a wiggle doodle. She's saying down. See? Um. So yeah. This is the project today. Always one of the questions is we've learned with the dire troll and the darkness of it is sometimes you want to stream with a black background. Sometimes you want to stream with a white background because it'll auto adjust for it. And I think that white background is actually showing you what we're doing a little bit better because this model has so much glare. So this is the model we're going to do. We did this last May, and as you might have expected from the description, I wasn't quite happy with it, so we're going to go and try to fix her up some. Which is going to take a lot more detailed work, because there's a lot of things that are just kind of funny about her. And there's a lot of potential in this model too, because like you get this beautiful ribbing down the bottom, you get some wonderful line work on her torso. I think the eyes at least are a little bit off from each other, but they were basically together. But it looks like she has a little bit of stubble. The dark lipstick, to have rubbed off some on the rest of her face. So I think I will start off with the very particular, picking at the face. So I'm going to turn her upside down so you can see. And so starting off, I want to make sure these eyes are actually pointed in the same direction, because every time I'm turning her around, it looks like they're pointing in slightly different ways. And this is going with the concept of small, starting with small details. Because she's a fairy, I want the eyes to pop. So I am going to look for my matte white. Matte white. And get my messy palette. Look how messy my palette. It's like I never clean it because I rarely clean it. So a little bit of water, shaking up the matte white. And the whole theory is that if I take a little bit from one's eye, it might look a little bit more like she's looking, kind of push over that pupil some. Uh, this matte white clogs up so easy. So I need some paper clip. So I think in general, I want to keep her with these purples, and I want to keep the dark painting. It needs to be more dark skinned, fanciful creatures. When I'm looking at this, I might just push it real gently. Feel like that. See, even looks like the eye is just kind of melting off. Okay, changing my mind. I'm just gonna paint over those eyes and redraw the pupil. If you hear talking in the background, that's our game night. Because that's the game for the week. See, this is how stubborn I am. I'm still trying to just make that pokey pokey thing work. Because the other problem, see, it's like I feel like these eyes have two problems. Is one, they run into the eyebrow. Okay, so while I wait for that dry, I actually change the color of the. I'm going to take this mutant hue, because I think that's what I'm going to do it. So it's not going to run into the. Do I want to do that? You know how I am. I second guess myself all the time. It's like I'm gonna do it like this. Do it like that. Um, no, I think I'm gonna use this for. It's a lot like her skin tone. Trying to decide what I'm gonna do. Just go in again with um dirt splatter. No, I'm not gonna go in with dirt splatter because there's even something with her eyebrows I'm not so happy with. So there's a lot that I'm struggling with. But I think ultimately what I want to do is I want to go back in with my black uh, for really dark eyes. So right now it's just a matter of picking through my dark colors, looking for that black paint. A matte black somewhere in here, which appears to be missing. That's fun. Haha. We still have these Vallejo paints from when we did the paint night kits, and it's bad that I can't find it. I'm just playing with the color of the light. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the black in order to try to even out the eyebrows and redraw those pupils. So once again, what I always recommend with pupils, just directly dipping it in, thinning it out on the palette, is that you draw a straight line through the whites of the eyes. And I'm just poking at it a little bit to try to get a little bit more of a roundness to them. And then I'm going to later go back and I'm definitely struggling with these eyebrows. I'm just trying to pull them out a little bit. They don't look, so they look a little bit more even. I like this one that looks like a little half moon, a little half circle over eyes. Okay. So the next step we're going to do, which is a good thing I'm not pleased with the skin tone, is to go back over with whatever skin tone you like to use. I am going to be using this fur brown just to give it a little bit more warmth, give it a little bit more so that it looks a little bit less charcoaly in places like around her lips. Because I am dealing with a lot of dark details on her face. And I think that spillover from that is what's making her look as charcoaly. It's like, I think that's like a dark purple for the lips and dark eyes. I'm going to start off by trying to just add a little bit more roundness to this one eyebrow so that they both kind of look like these half circles. And then I'm going to go in underneath and add a little bit beneath the eye, which should leave some uplifting to the cheekbones. And then I'm going to take it under the chin. That dark lipstick is just on her lips. Look like it's spilling over. And I'm looking for any other places on her that nose is proving to be difficult. Kind of looks like there's a teeny hook to the nose. So what I'll do to take away some of that point is to go back with the lipstick color. And actually, I'm going to try to be a little bit off of whatever the lips, so that I could also try to use it to add some more definition to the lips themselves. So I'm going to pull out the oozing purple. No, let's get it. That's a effect. That's a blood effect. Shaking it up, which is a very purpley red. Coming out really clear. So one thing the Army Painter makes that's really nice is they make this line of mixing balls that you can just stick in your paints to help mix up your paints. Right now, I'm getting a whole lot. Which ain't good. It's not giving me the color I want. That's my dog seeing a ghost. It depends. If she's like bow wow wow tricks in order to make sure in order to distract her from whatever she's barking at and break her focus on that. It doesn't matter if you're typing, and that's what part of what you do. So it's just like, yep. Man, this thing's just not. Oh, there's some of the pigment coming out. There we go. Unfortunately, I feel like I'm going through a lot of the pigment, a lot of the medium of this paint in order to get at the pigment. Even then, this is awfully thin stuff I'm working with. It's so thin. Okay, let's clean off that brush.
Unfortunately, I'm the only one who cares. My guy's the only one that cares what clicks in there.
So the hope is it's kind of like when someone's trying to do a deer cosplay. This isn't coming out thick enough. It's just not opaque enough. Maybe for the sake of shaking my paints, I need to do this more than once a week. Sure, the fact that I missed last week doesn't help. There we go.
Jeff's trolling me because Jeff's my one cultist. Now I can recruit another cultist until he gets that. Thanks. Yeah, so basically during the power step, it's
That face is just being difficult. And that's not really what we want to focus on right now anyway. Okay, so now I'm going to be moving on to some of it. So I think a lot of the problem with the out, a whole lot of lack of definition. The face is going to bug me. It really is. There's a whole lot of lack of definition. So what I am going to first do, I'm going to trust in my colors. First of all, I'm going to separate the skirt from the jacket. And so I'm going to start off with this alien purple tones from before. Shake it up. Shake it up. I think this was actually the original color. And instead of using dry brushing, I'm going to do the more painstaking, taking every single panel and just running this color one panel at a time. It takes a lot more of a steady hand. But like I said, what we're really trying to do is create some definition.
you can put your so you still gain power.
Nope, I'm just going to color the whole thing dark purple to reset it. Because it's just reestablishing the base coat. Because you know me, changing my mind in the middle of the job. It's like looking at what it's doing. It's like, hey, wait a minute. I'm being dumb. Just pulling out the multi-purpose brush that WizKids gave you in their paint night kit. It's a pretty wide bristle because I don't take care of my brushes very well. I'm just going to reach in there. I'm still going to try to be careful because it's too wide. Look at that point. It's terrible. Let's try for my silver silk brush. Let's see if so all I'm doing right now is re-base coating what's going in there. Part of what's going into this though is going to be I'm trying to find windows where I can show the skirt through because I think that's going to be interesting. And I need to paint under the camera. It's one bad thing about going layers after layers is that you do lose out on a lot of the detail. So there's a lot of tricks you can do with that, but at the same time, I think I want the skirt to be a contrasted color. So purple is blue and red. Opposite of that will be yellow, which is why I put on these yellow bands. So I'm going to do this fire lizard. But I still want it to be blue and stormy. This is the same. I can tell this is the same color theory debate that I'm having in my head. She's not balanced in her colors. I'm going to paint it orange and I'm going to work it up to, I want it cooler colors. See, fighting with myself. So using this mythical orange, anything yellow, oranges, that range of things, I always find the colors come out so thin. And this is being no exception. I'm just going to go over. One of these years, they're going to have to figure out how to give a good orange. Which I know this is very yellow, which is one reason why I chose this orange. Although it's coming out a lot more yellow than advertised. You know, things to fight with. Every time I shake this, it seems to come out a little bit more orange. I'll get it right eventually. So I think today all we're going to really try to do is just block in the new colors because we want to create some more definition. Right now, she's just turning into a bloody mess, though. This is just gonna be one of those models that when it pops together, and until then, it's gonna be like, ugh, pain. And now I'm gonna try to use some of this. I'm gonna since it's coming out a little bit orange every time I use it, shake it, drop it. I'm gonna shake it one more time before trying to get into some of those window spots in the side of her coat or jacket. Poke, poke, poke. Get on this side. Poke, poke, poke. Getting another layer, you can tell. The problem is right now the paint's going on so thick that it's losing a lot. So let's pull up some of them while I wait on that. Wow. Trying to reach for my metallics. I'm pulling out the bright gold for some of the yellow spaces she already has. I'm pulling out this bright gold to kind of make it goldier. Again, going back to my insane detail brush. And just very delicately, I'm just detail works right now. I'm just touching up the staff. My hope is that I'll get this staff to a point where I can just like not even worry about it and not even have to touch it up. So at least that's something I can look at and it's like, that looks right.
Okay.
go. There we go. And then I'm going to go and take this and real delicately, because I think a lot of the purples, I'm going to use the same theory but I had before. And then I'm going to go and do the same detail book on that book. Since so I'm just painting details on the book. Either that I'm falling prey to the lack of detail in this model. Speaking of lack of detail, spotted more places where I need to go in with that orange. So there's this little space like right behind the book. There. Try to get a little more orange. This might end up being a lot closer to a canvas painting by the time I'm done than a miniature painting, just because I'm going to have to just paint in a lot of the details. Kind of like the underskirt being purple like that. I think I'll keep it. And right here on the book, we got some, let's see about just in the camera so you can see that. So you can see some of that detail in that book that we got in there. Still kind of seems like a mess. Got some of that gold on the arm. That arm still needs work. So I'm going to do that now.
Don't get your gate. Reaction. Take it right now. Even if you have a limited battles, it's still fun.
Today we started Tomb of Annihilation with my Wednesday game. That first part of it, it's like you're dropped in middle of Tomb of Annihilation is a Wizard of the Coast adventure for 5th edition D&D. It's a campaign dressed around the Tomb of Horrors dungeon, which is a relatively famous I'm gonna kill your characters style dungeon. Oh, did I just do that thing? I might have just did that thing. And so you get dropped in the middle of Cholt, which is kind of this jungle filled with dinosaurs that you get to explore through. The culture is somewhere between. It seems to be somewhere between African and Mesoamerican, depending on what part into. And you are trying to explore this. You're trying to explore this jungle in order to find this MacGuffin thing. But you start off not knowing anything. Like you just don't know anything. And so they got in there like champs. And they started poking around, asking questions, and trying to search around. I'm not used to running adventures like that. When I'm self-writing, I tend to have it so they start off. I'm switching over to Phoenix Flames for another yellow, trying to start adding in some of that detail in the skirt that I thought it needed. They just started asking questions, stuff like that, and trying to figure out answers. And so I'm relatively proud of them that in a very short period of time, they went from, because of just sprinkling in side quests, they went from not knowing anything to having a little bit of something. Like I said, when I usually run stuff, I try to make sure that the answers are where they ask. And so this thing of like, I'm going to ask here, yeah, there's just nothing there for you, is not something I'm used to. So just not used to doing it. So I'm relatively pleased with how they managed. And like, I'm sure there's a lot of places where it's like, we're sitting there, we're trying to figure out what's happening, we're trying to figure out this mystery, which is one reason why I chose this one. There's been several GMs that have run Curse of Strahd recently, but no one was really doing Tomb of Annihilation, so I decided to do that one because of that. Lena's just looking through the book and helping me read through it, and she's just like, wow, there's all of these black people. Why aren't there more black people and more of D&D? I'm sure the answer is they're trying. Just a lot of these adventures were written in during a time that they're not concerned, but Wizards is definitely showing more of a concern. So, and I have to admit, with my own world building,
So the only thing that cannot capture are focus.
I am trying to figure figure out how much on the. So now I'm just trying to paint lines on this part of the skirt because there's lines that are naturally carved in there, and I am trying to accentuate those, but I'm treating it a little bit more like I'm painting lines on a canvas rather than a three-dimensional object. Talk about things I'm not used to doing. So I wanted to see how someone else did a campaign that had a large amount of it is all about the exploration. And it's like not every part of it has an answer, but every part of it illustrated something about the setting. Um, Man, I'm just dropping brushes left right today. And that's kind of interesting. Um, so
I can promote this. You can promote a small self-help book, transforming
and it's like I'm really trying to push forward this whole thing of you're going to get an idea of maybe we should do this, try it out, let's see what happens. Every now and then have someone that actually does point them in the right way, but just not in the most direct method. And sometimes that means you just plain gotta wait. So because that's the game I do right before I do this, you'll probably hear a lot more about that. Um, and I'm sure there's a lot of GMs that are out there that are kind of like, yeah, of course would you have them do it. They need to think about it. I've always been more of a storyteller, and exploration and puzzles has always been something that's been difficult for me. It'll be interesting once they get into exploring the region. Right now, they're already pointing out the blank spaces in the map where no one knows what's there, and they're already pointing at it, saying, "Yeah, so if we do this and we do this, then we can get down to here, and that's where the fun stuff is." And I'm like, I don't know. That's chapter 2. I haven't really read chapter 2 yet. Of course, I don't tell them I haven't read chapter 2 yet. Just drawing these lines. So
Well, actually, no. I mean, I have an ability. I left it behind because I got an ability I can use now.
this is actually going to be one of those jobs where it's like I'm going to keep on questioning if I'm going down the right path. But I know that there's just going to be a place where it just snaps and it comes together. And I'm going to start feeling good about that. But until I hit that point, it's going to be kind of rough.
Yeah. I figured you were doing something.
It's like playing a long game where it's like you don't know if what you're doing is good, you don't know if what you're doing is bad, but you're doing it and you're going to see at the end of the game if it actually works out or not. And sometimes in the middle of that game while you're doing that thing, you might feel real bad about yourself while you're doing it, saying, "Oh no." I know this usually works, but the dice hate me. So that's kind of how I feel like about this right now. Take a look. Not a lot of time. When I finish trying to with this color, I might call it pause for today because I got other things to work on. This painting stream is only supposed to last about an hour, but because of how the fabric's flapping. There we go. So that reestablishes a pattern. I drift off. That reestablishes a pattern on the skirt. The lines aren't real even, but it does help regain some of that definition. I think lastly, I'm going to take some of the color on a wider brush. And I'm going to try to keep the same color pattern going in for this cloth right here. This is the brush that dropped. And so the tip's going to need some TLC.
Let me get up. Energy drink.
So just some news around the shop. Um, this Sunday, we have our tea board game night. So you can come and enjoy tea at Twisted Tea House while playing fantastic games that are presented by us. So that's a fun thing. Last time we checked, still have 12 slots open. So get them while tickets last. You can find out information on our website or just look it up on our Eventbrite. Eventbrite. What? Yeah, so you can look it up on our website or on our Eventbrite. And that's where you can find it, as well as we have our Learn to Play D&D on um, Tuesday. That mouth still needs something. I might just switch to some bolder lipstick instead of that trying to get dark purple. We'll see how it goes. The eyes look better at least. So yeah, we're going to be we're going to run our Learn to Play D&D on Tuesday, the 14th, and the beginners game is starting Tuesday the 21st of September 2021. It's the beginners campaign is going to be a 10-week campaign, so we'll be running until the end of November. So with that said, I hope you've had a lot of fun watching us. And I will, and I'll see you hopefully next week because we know how consistent I am right now. That will hopefully be something that will be improving too. So everyone, take care.